They've been here all along. The 49 races controlling human evolution and why they're finally revealing themselves. What you're about to discover has been deliberately hidden from humanity for thousands of years. And the reason why will shake everything you thought you knew about reality itself. Right now, at this very moment, there are beings watching you from dimensions your eyes cannot perceive, operating on frequencies your brain wasn't designed to detect. These aren't spirits. These aren't ghosts. These are living, breathing entities with physical bodies more advanced than anything human science can comprehend. They call themselves the 49 races, and they've been here since before recorded history began. But here's what makes this absolutely terrifying. These beings don't come from distant planets millions of light years away. They don't travel in slow metal spacecraft across the void of space. No, they exist right here, right now, in dimensions stacked on top of our own reality like invisible layers we're blind to. And they can step into our world whenever they choose. Let me tell you what happened when researchers made direct contact with two of these beings from the 9th dimension. Entities so advanced they're considered divine by every ancient civilization that ever encountered them. When asked how long it took them to travel from the Andromeda region to Earth, the female entity said something that defies all physics as we know it. Millionths of microseconds, instantaneous, through wormholes and portals that collapse space and time into nothing. Think about what that means. While we're struggling to send rockets to Mars, these beings are stepping between dimensions like we walk through doorways. While our fastest spacecraft would take thousands of years to reach the nearest star, they're materializing anywhere in the universe in less time than it takes for a single photon to cross an atom. The 49 races aren't aliens in the way Hollywood taught you to think about them. They're not little green men in flying saucers. They're multidimensional entities existing at such high frequencies of light and vibration that they appear as pure energy to our limited perception. But make no mistake, they have bodies, physical forms. The difference is their bodies exist in a state between matter and pure consciousness, operating at frequencies our instruments can't even measure. Here's where it gets even more disturbing. Everything you see in the night sky, every constellation humanity has mapped and named, Pleiades, Antares, Sirius, Orion, Pegasus, these aren't just balls of burning gas trillions of miles away. According to the knowledge transmitted by these races, what we perceive as stars are holographic projections, bioplasmic lights that correspond to extradimensional regions we can't access. The sky itself is a map, a cosmic projection of realities existing beyond our dimensional prison. The ancient astrologers knew this. The star watchers of Egypt, Sumeria, Babylon, they weren't just looking at lights in the sky. They were receiving direct transmissions from the 49 races, learning the true nature of reality. Every constellation name, every mythological story about gods descending from the heavens, these were attempts to preserve the knowledge these beings shared before humanity fell into amnesia. When we die, our spirit separates from our physical body and moves to the spiritual plane, an intermediate realm that exists right here on Earth in a different frequency. But the 49 races, when they experience what we call death, they return to dimensional realms so far beyond our comprehension that we don't even have words to describe them. They operate in dimensions ranging from the 4th all the way up to the 13th, each level representing an exponential increase in consciousness and capability. Let me paint you a picture of just how vast this knowledge gap is. One of the beings identified their origin point as a specific quadrant of the Pegasus constellation in the 13th dimension, and they provided a numerical code so complex, so enormous, that human mathematics doesn't have the framework to even process it. We're talking about beings who understand the fundamental architecture of reality itself while we're still arguing about whether consciousness survives death. But wait, this is just scratching the surface of how deep this goes. These entities have been conducting what we call abductions for millennia, but the truth about these encounters is far more complex than the trauma narratives pushed by mainstream ufology. When someone reports being taken aboard a craft, experiencing medical procedures, meeting beings with large eyes and gray skin, what's really happening operates on multiple levels simultaneously. The physical abduction is real, but it's also a dimensional overlay, a moment where multiple realities intersect and the human consciousness is expanded beyond its normal limitations. Witnesses describe rooms that are bigger on the inside than the outside, technology that responds to thought, beings that communicate telepathically in complete concepts rather than language. This isn't science fiction. This is documented in thousands of cases across every culture on Earth. The abduction phenomenon is a contact protocol, a way for the 49 races to interact with humans without completely destroying our psychological frameworks. And here's what the government absolutely doesn't want you to know. They've been in contact with several of these races since at least the 1940s. The Roswell incident, the countless military encounters with UFOs demonstrating impossible maneuvers, these weren't accidents or misunderstandings. These were planned interactions, demonstrations of technology so far beyond our capability that it forced world powers into secret negotiations with entities they couldn't control or threaten. Do you believe there's life on other planets? That somewhere in the vast cosmos, other civilizations exist? Leave your thoughts in the comments, because what you're about to learn next will completely transform how you think about that question. The technology these beings possess makes our most advanced systems look like Stone Age tools. They've demonstrated teleportation, bilocation, being in two places simultaneously, materialization of objects from thin air, manipulation of time and space that seems like magic but operates on principles of physics we haven't discovered yet. Witnesses have watched beings walk through solid walls, disappear and reappear instantly, levitate without any visible means of propulsion, alter their physical forms like changing clothes. Our bodies are condensed light, dense matter vibrating at a low frequency. The 49 races exist in states where their bodies are primarily energy with just enough coherent matter to maintain form. They can raise or lower their vibration to interact with our dimension when needed, then phase back out when finished. To them, moving through solid matter is as natural as we move through air. The ancient texts got it right when they called these beings gods, but they weren't supernatural. They were natural beings operating on natural laws we simply don't understand yet. Every mythology, every religion, every story of angels and demons and sky people, these were humanity's attempts to describe encounters with the 49 races before we had the language or concepts to accurately explain what we were experiencing. Consider this. Ancient megalithic structures around the world, Pumapunku, the pyramids, Stonehenge, these weren't built by primitive humans with copper tools. The precision is impossible. The mathematical encoding is beyond what those civilizations officially possessed. These were constructed with assistance from races who could manipulate gravity, teleport massive stones, cut granite with tools we haven't invented yet. The evidence is there, carved in stone, waiting for anyone willing to look with open eyes. But the question everyone asks is why? Why are they here? What do they want with humanity? The answer is more complex than a simple invasion or benevolent guardianship. Earth exists as a dimensional crossroads, a convergence point where multiple realities intersect. What happens here ripples across dimensions. The 49 races have various agendas, some aligned with human evolution, others more self-interested, some simply observing as we navigate our own development. Some races are actively trying to elevate human consciousness, preparing us for eventual integration into the larger cosmic community. Others are mining our planet for resources that exist in frequencies we can't detect. Some are conducting genetic experiments, hybridization programs creating beings that can exist in multiple dimensions. And some are just watching, studying us like we study animals in their natural habitat. The abduction phenomenon serves multiple purposes across these different groups. Some abductees are being upgraded, having dormant DNA activated, receiving downloads of information their conscious minds can't process yet but will need in the future. Others are having genetic material harvested for hybridization programs. Some are being trained as ambassadors, individuals who will bridge the gap when open contact finally occurs. And yes, some encounters are more sinister, serving agendas that don't align with human well-being. Here's what keeps intelligence agencies awake at night. Some of these races can manipulate human consciousness remotely. They can implant thoughts, alter memories, create screen memories that hide the true nature of encounters. They can influence decision makers, whisper ideas into the minds of leaders, guide human development along specific pathways. We like to think we're in control of our own evolution, but what if we've been gently shepherded this whole time? The spiritual realm and the dimensional realms are separate but interconnected systems. When you die, your spirit doesn't go to the dimensions where the 49 races exist. It goes to frequency bands specific to Earth, planes of existence that wrap around our planet like invisible spheres. But the dimensional beings can access those spiritual planes if they choose. They exist outside our life-death cycle, experiencing existence in ways that make linear time seem quaint and primitive. Every person reading this right now has likely had contact with these beings and doesn't remember. The memory wipes are too effective, the screen memories too convincing. You dream about something strange, write it off as just a weird dream, never knowing it was an actual experience edited for your psychological protection. You wake up with unexplained marks, lost time, a sense of unease you can't place. These are clues, breadcrumbs leading to encounters your mind has been programmed to forget. But the veil is thinning. More people are remembering. More encounters are being documented with multiple witnesses, physical evidence, radar confirmations. The 49 races seem to be preparing humanity for something, gradually increasing visibility, allowing more information to leak through the walls of secrecy that have contained this truth for so long. Ancient cultures maintained this knowledge through mystery schools, initiatory traditions where selected individuals were taught the true nature of reality. The Egyptian mysteries, the Eleusinian mysteries of Greece, the secret teachings of the Druids, all of these preserved fragments of the contact knowledge. But over time, through war and religious persecution and deliberate suppression, that knowledge was scattered, encoded in symbols and myths that most people no longer understand. The zodiac itself is a map given to humanity by the 49 races, a celestial codex explaining their origins and roles in human development. Each constellation represents not just a region of space, but a dimensional gateway, a frequency signature of specific races and their characteristics. When ancient astrologers studied the stars, they weren't just doing divination. They were reading a living document, tracking the movements and influences of dimensional forces on human affairs. The technology gap between us and them isn't measured in years or even centuries. It's measured in entire paradigms of understanding. We're still arguing about whether consciousness is generated by the brain or exists independently. They've mastered consciousness transfer between bodies, between dimensions, between states of existence we don't have words for. We've barely left our own planet. They've mapped entire dimensional matrices containing billions of worlds we can't even perceive. But here's what gives me hope. We're related to them. Human DNA contains markers from multiple races, genetic contributions from beings who mixed their essence with early humans to create a species capable of eventually joining them. We're hybrids, dimensional beings trapped in dense matter bodies, slowly remembering our true nature. The amnesia is lifting, the veils are parting, and when enough humans remember, when enough people wake up to the reality of who and what we really are, everything changes. The next phase of human evolution isn't biological. It's consciousness-based. As more people raise their frequency, expand their awareness, activate dormant capabilities in their own genetics, we become capable of perceiving and interacting with the 49 races directly. Some humans are already there, operating as bridges between worlds, translating the incomprehensible into terms we can begin to understand. Every abduction, every sighting, every encounter is a contact point, a moment where the boundaries between dimensions grow thin enough for interaction. Some of these beings look humanoid, designed that way to make contact less traumatic. Others appear as beings of pure light. Still others manifest in forms that terrify witnesses because human brains literally can't process what they're seeing without psychological damage. The famous gray aliens, the archetypal visitors with large black eyes and small bodies, these are often biological robots, remotely controlled interfaces used by races that can't safely manifest in our dimension. Think of them as avatars, bodies controlled from a distance to interact with humans without fully committing to our frequency range. Behind those empty black eyes are consciousnesses operating from realms we can't imagine. Other beings appear reptilian, insectoid, crystalline, formless. Each form serves a purpose, expresses the nature of the consciousness inhabiting it. And here's what most people don't realize. These aren't fixed forms. Dimensional beings can alter their appearance, project different forms, appear however they need to for any given situation. What a witness sees often depends on their own expectations, fears, and psychological capacity to handle the encounter. The portals and wormholes they use aren't science fiction concepts. They're real, measurable distortions in space-time that can be engineered by sufficiently advanced technology. These beings create temporary rifts between dimensions, step through, and seal the opening behind them. To an observer, it looks like they materialized from nothing, but they're actually moving between layers of reality as easily as we move between rooms in a house. Governments know this. Military forces around the world have documented countless incidents where these craft appear from nowhere, perform maneuvers that would pulverize any human pilot, then vanish by either shooting off at impossible speeds or literally dematerializing. The physics don't work according to our models because our models are incomplete. We're still using kindergarten-level mathematics to try to understand graduate-level reality. The cover-up isn't about preventing panic. It's about maintaining power structures that would collapse if people knew the truth. How do you keep populations focused on political divisions and consumer culture when they discover we're just one species in a cosmic ecosystem containing thousands of advanced civilizations? How do you maintain religious authority when people learn that gods and angels were misunderstood encounters with dimensional beings? How do you justify military spending when there are forces in the universe against which all human weapons are meaningless? So the truth is suppressed, leaked slowly, drip-fed to humanity in forms that can be dismissed or debated. Witnesses are ridiculed. Evidence is confiscated. Researchers are discredited. But the dam is breaking. Too many people have seen too much. Too many credible witnesses from military, aviation, government backgrounds are coming forward. The truth can't be contained anymore. And this brings us to the real question. What happens next? What happens when humanity collectively wakes up to our place in the larger cosmic community? Some of the 49 races want us to succeed, to evolve into peers they can openly interact with. Others prefer we stay ignorant, easier to manage and influence. And some don't care either way, merely observing our development with detached curiosity. We're at a crossroads as a species, a pivotal moment where we either expand into our cosmic heritage or collapse into extinction under the weight of our own ignorance and violence. The knowledge is returning. Ancient wisdom is being rediscovered. People are having spontaneous awakenings, remembering encounters, activating dormant abilities. The frequency of Earth itself is rising, making it easier to perceive the dimensional layers that have always existed around us. More people are seeing things they can't explain, experiencing synchronicities too precise to be coincidence, feeling the presence of something vast and incomprehensible watching from just beyond the edge of perception. This is disclosure, not as a single announcement, but as a gradual awakening spreading through human consciousness like ripples in a pond. One person wakes up and tells others. Those others investigate and have their own experiences. The circle expands, unstoppable, inevitable. The 49 races are allowing this, perhaps even orchestrating it, preparing humanity for a level of contact that will transform our entire civilization. Everything you thought was real is just one thin slice of a reality far more complex and beautiful than you were taught to believe. Other dimensions exist right now, overlapping this one, filled with beings and worlds and possibilities beyond imagining. And you're connected to all of it, whether you remember or not. Your consciousness isn't trapped in your skull. It extends across dimensions, touching realities you experience in dreams and forget when you wake. The abductions will continue until enough humans remember who they really are. The sightings will increase until the presence of dimensional beings becomes undeniable. The veil will keep thinning until finally it disappears completely and humanity takes its place among the 49 races as equals. No longer children but conscious participants in the cosmic dance that has always been happening just beyond our ability to perceive. This is the truth they didn't want you to know. This is the reality hidden behind layers of deception and misdirection. But now you know. Now you've heard the testimony of those who've made contact, witnessed the impossible, returned with knowledge that changes everything. The question is, what will you do with this information? Will you dismiss it, retreat into comfortable ignorance? Or will you begin your own investigation, opening yourself to possibilities your mind was trained to reject? The choice is yours. But know this, once you truly see beyond the veil, once you perceive even a glimpse of the greater reality, you can never go back to sleep. The truth is too vast, too magnificent, too terrifying and wonderful to ignore. If this information resonated with you, if something deep inside recognized truth in these words, subscribe to this channel. We're just beginning to peel back the layers of the greatest mystery humanity has ever faced. The next video will reveal even more, going deeper into specific races, their agendas, and the transformation coming for all of humanity. Share this with others who are ready to know. Leave a comment about your own experiences or thoughts. Together, we're breaking through the walls of secrecy that have imprisoned human consciousness for too long. The 49 races are real. They're here, they're watching, and they're waiting to see if humanity is ready to remember what we've always been. Dimensional beings temporarily experiencing physical existence, destined to rejoin the cosmic community we never really left. The amnesia is ending, the awakening has begun, and nothing will ever be the same again.